Verb.
Yo, I don't think we should talk about this.
Come on, why not?
People might.
My guest today is Reverend Ashley. Flowers, flowers. Introduce
Yes.
yourself. Introduce yourself to the YouTubers.
What is up, everybody? Rev Ashley here, RAKPAK. I like to go by PAC here in the States. I am from the United States of America, and I am proud Reverend right there in GIAM with all our young people, all of our youth. So shout out to Jane, who's brought me on this show today. I am so excited. I'm excited for our conversation. Just honored to be with everybody today. Hey, like she said, subscribe, like, whatever it is you guys do, but let's increase those followers, those subscribers, turn on that notification so you guys know this is where it's at. All day Neural James, you know, y'all, it's
Your
bad. say it. It's bad.
All
it's
day
like,
your Sims. All day
yes,
your Sims.
that's it. Follow that, subscribe to it. It'll make your life. It'll make your whole life.
Yes. So today we are about to be very, very candid. We are about to be very raw and very, very real. So I'm so sure you're asking, well, Jane is with Rev, so most likely they're just going to talk about the word. And yes, we are about to talk about that, but before we talk about the word and biblical perspective, we are talking about SES.
Let's talk about sex. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. I don't know if y'all know that song. Before I knew Jesus, that was the song. I'm gonna ask God.
I think I also know it. When I was writing this, I actually wrote the songs like "Let's talk about that, baby." I wrote it out.
Yes, it's a real song.
Yeah. So that's what we are talking about today. I don't know why I am excited about this, but the main reason why I wanted to talk about this segment, and we're going to do it in like 5 parts because we're going to get Rev's opinion, and she's going to be the major person you're going to be seeing on this segment, but you're also going to get other people's perspective, why and stuff like that. But it's because I have realized in the church, it's like a taboo to talk about it. That the only time you are told about it is you're told, don't have sex till marriage. And that's it. But like, you know, generations are changing and times are changing, and we have a lot of questions. Why? Why don't do it now? Why wait till marriage? What is the big deal about it? And so in the first segment, we are just going to introduce it. Yes, introduce it to you people. And then later on, you're going to dig deeper to get other people's experiences and stuff like that. And you're going to do it in questions. Reverend Ashley has forgotten to mention she is married. So she is versatile. She is versatile in that area. So we are told to wait till marriage. So if you're married, so you're versatile. So yes, that's why she'll be here to give us more insight. And just let's get right into the questions and into the video. Are you ready, Rev?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Are you feeling hot? Are you feeling like hot?
I am feeling hot. I got a little sweating going on, but it's all right. I think all of us will be sweating before it's all over. It's all right.
Okay. So one thing that I have been taught is that it is a process. Like sex is a process, and that is what you're going to deal with. The first question that I want to ask you is, when growing up, what did you think sex was? Like when growing up in America, what do you think sex was?
When growing up, what did I think sex was? I don't think that's a straightforward answer. I mean, sex was always around. I was raised in the hood. You know, I've seen a little bit of everything, heard a little bit of everything, been around a little bit of everything. I'm the second born of 4 girls. And so, I mean, growing up with my older sister and her crew, her squad, I was always a part of them. So being a part of older people, of course, you see a lot of different things and you hear a lot of different things. And so growing up, I seen it in so many ways. I seen it in the wrong way. I seen it, you know, in the right way as far as married couples being in love and all that kind of stuff. But I think I honestly seen it and introduced to me more majority in the majority as the wrong way, the wrong presentation, perverted, for the most part. I mean, you get exposed to pornography, you see, all kinds of different things. And so growing up, you see a little bit of everything, but I'm a firm believer that anyone can be your teacher, and so I didn't just take what was good and say, and just learn from that, or take what was bad and not learn from that. I seen it all and I learned a lesson from everything, and I feel like that's the way you have to approach life. So, I mean, growing up, it was really relevant. My mom never really sat us down. I was raised by a single mother. She never really sat us down and gave us the whole birds and the bees conversation. In the US, I mean, sex is glamorized. I mean, it's glamorized everywhere, but in the US, it's very glamorized. I mean, for a minute there's corporations and companies that were selling cheeseburgers, with women on cars, and eating a cheeseburger sexually. I mean, I don't understand, that relation, but that's just how it is. Sex sells. And that's how you see it, and growing up, when it's given that heartbeat, is given that threshold in your life, you see it, and it's a lot you have to sort of navigate through and learn from, in both ways. So I say I had a unique experience. I've seen it all. There's very few things I haven't seen.
Like, before you were married, you saw it all.
I've seen it all. I've seen it. I haven't experienced it all. Let me make sure I throw that in there. I have not experienced it all, but I've seen a lot. Like I said, I was around older people. I was around older teenagers. I was around college students. I was in high school and all my friends were in college. I mean, so you're hanging out with older people, you're seeing that scene, and that's what you see, and that's what you're around. I mean, by God's grace, he kept me. But I've seen it. Yeah.
Okay. You say that your parents never gave you that great sex talk. So why do you think she didn't give you that talk? And how did you, because you've seen it all, how did you learn more about it? Was it through asking or seeing, or how did you learn about it, and why didn't your parents give you that talk?
Yeah, I mean, I think my mom, I think, didn't really do the whole great sex talk. My childhood was a bit complicated. Single mom, growing up, all these things, 4 girls. There was a lot going on. My mom wasn't really, I think my mom just prayed we didn't bring home any babies. That's what my mom, she just prayed, like, Lord, don't let her bring home no babies. But she ain't never sit us down and say, hey, don't bring home no babies, or this is how you don't bring home a baby. She just prayed. I mean, my mother is a praying woman. Like, to this day, she is a praying woman, and I believe that's where we get it from as well. So my mother prayed for us, and I believe that's where she found her peace and her confidence and her hope that the Lord would keep us. I don't feel like she felt the need to have to. I mean, and even though I've seen a lot, I was also very heavily involved in sports. And so I really put a lot of my energy, a lot of my focus into what I did in my craft, in basketball, in music, and things like that. So I wasn't as distracted as most females were because I had other things. For me, I don't feel like she ever felt she needed to really give me that conversation. Now, I get it. I'm also the type of person who learns by observation. So I don't have to be necessarily told the stove is hot. I can look myself and I can tell that stove will mess me up if I touch it. So I don't have to be disciplined in order to be disciplined. And so that's just my makeup. That's how I am as a person. So I think she never really felt like she needed to tell me that. And so moving forward, growing up, I think it was just a matter of me learning from what I saw, from the examples and the fruit that came off the lives of those who were dibbling, dabbling, doing God knows what with every God knows what. I think there was things that just were obvious, that just said, hey, I don't want that fruit in my life. I don't want this in my life. I just sort of took that as learning from what I saw based off of what came off of their life. The word tells us that you shall know them by their fruit. And the fruit that someone produces off of their life tells you what kind of life they're in. And so, it was a lot of rotten fruit around me. So I was like, okay, that's not what I want. I like fresh fruit. So, Yeah.
Okay, but I also I think I have the same experience with you because I am 22 years old and none of my family members, like none from my sister to my mom, none of them, however, sat me down and told
Right.
me this and this and this and this, and none of them. And also I think the way you said your mom is a praying woman, also my sister is the same. So I think she just holds her heart and her faith in God that Jane will not go to that place, will not bring children. But
Right.
out of curiosity, like as you grow, and that's why I'm saying our generation is different from their generation, and maybe from your generation, our generation is very curious, very,
Hey.
very curious, very
Yeah.
curious. Because when I came to learn about sex, I actually, before I couldn't even say that word. I was like sexual intercourse or that
Sex
that
is bad.
that
Sorry.
in Kiswahili you're like tabia mbaya, like bad manners.
No.
I know, like last year, and I think I told you last year was when when it was ending, and Ali says when I could actually say that word confidently and actually have learned about it. But the way
Yeah.
that I learned about it was me asking questions that even my friends were like, "You're Jane now. You're coming too fast. Like, put the brakes on your questions." Because I was so curious that why aren't we taught these things in the church?
And
And that's huh?
yeah. I mean, I hate to cut you off, but I mean, the truth of the matter is, it's because of where sex has been viewed. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, realistically, and I'm not trying to jump ahead of you, but if you go into Genesis 1, Genesis 2, it talks
Mm-hmm.
about that this is something God made. And the
Yeah.
truth be told, the enemy perverted it. And
Mm-hmm.
so what we now see sex through is not the lens of the Bible and God, it's through the
Mm-hmm.
lens of the world. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's the worldview that we have on sex. And so
Mm-hmm.
even the
Mm-hmm.
church has also had this carnal or this secular worldview when
Yeah.
it comes to sex, because how much the world has hijacked such a
Yeah.
godly thing. I mean, I know
Yeah.
we're gonna get real, but it's true. Sex is
Yeah.
a godly experience. It's what
Yeah.
God made, is what
Yeah.
God created. So for a lot of Christians to be shy about it or to shy away is because for
Mm-hmm.
so long we put a stigma on something that God created. You
Yeah.
understand? But
Yeah.
we don't
Yeah.
put a stigma on anything else. We don't put a stigma on water. Well, water
Yeah.
can destroy too. You know, if
Mm-hmm.
it floods, it destroys,
Yeah. True.
but there's no
True.
stigma on water. Same
Mm-hmm.
thing. God created this encounter. He created this experience. And
Yeah.
what we've done, unfortunately, is allowed the enemy to hijack it. And
Mm-hmm.
we've never recaptured back
Mm-hmm.
the essence
Mm-hmm.
of this precious gift that God gave us.
Yeah.
And it's because, frankly, I mean, we're trying to be super spiritual, but I mean, super spiritual long dresses don't mean nothing. I mean, at the end of
Yeah.
the day, it
Yeah.
don't. Yeah.
Yeah. And the way that you said about stigmatization and it's a godly thing, now in my generation, and this is a question I was asked. Like someone asked me when I was still in high school, when I was telling my friends that me, I still want to be pure and I want to maintain purity. And one of my friends was like, and what if the day that you get married, find that his manhood is as small as this, like you need they said that even to the brothers, they'd be like, you need to sample so that you can know you
Brothers,
like.
like that is.
Yes,
Ah,
they're like, you need to sample to know what you want and maybe what are your sports and stuff like that. How would you address that issue? Because when you're saying it's godly, someone in my day and age will come and say, but I just can't enter into marriage blindly without knowing this person, because we say for better for us till death to us part. I'm supposed to stay with this person who will not satisfy me till death. I'd rather sample now and know what I'm getting into than find
yeah.
out later. How would you address that?
I mean, let's talk about samples. So here in the US, the
Yeah,
stores here, we call them big box stores. So they're
yeah.
humongous warehouse stores.
Mm-hmm.
called like, it's one called Sam's Club. There's another called Costco's. So these are humongous stores, right? And I mean, guys, they're like warehouses. And they're full of all this stuff, and it has like bulk items and all these things. And so what they do, because they sell in bulk, like you can get like a whole like 200, 300 pieces of chicken nuggets for like very little money. So you go in there, but the way they get these things to sell is have samples everywhere. Before all this corona mess hit, before all that. But before this, you go around the store, and like, especially on Saturdays, and you can sample like all this stuff. And so when you sample it, if you like it, they say, hey, it's on sale, it's on promo for this amount, buy. After they get you to sample it, you go and buy it. But that makes sense when it comes to when you're not walking by faith. Like, even in your sexuality, you have to walk by faith to the extent that God created you to do that. God was not ignorant to the fact that you would need to be married, you would need to be in a relationship with someone and marry that person and then live life with that person. He was not ignorant to that. But he does require for us to have a level of faith even in that situation. Again, going back, the bottom line is sex is no longer viewed biblically. And so when it's not viewed biblically, we don't think that even sex needs to be a walk of faith. So what do? We say, oh, we need to sample, because if I'm going to sample, then I sample it. And if I like it, then I'm going to buy it. God is not Costco's. God is not Sam's. Like, marriage is not Costco's. Marriage is not Sam's. I mean, I didn't know anybody before my husband. And it was a step of faith. The fact, this is how I see it. And this is me being completely real. You can say you're going to sample. Okay, that's not going to do anything but sell you something that you think you want. It might not be what you need. Might not be what you need physically. Might not be what you need emotionally. Might not be what you need spiritually. You can sit here and say, okay, well, his endowment is not enough for me. Okay, well, are you sure? You don't know what it is you need. God knows what it is you need. So at the end of the day, if I'm going to get in this relationship with this guy, I'm going to date him, we're going to court, we're going to get married. Me sampling, I will be sampling based and then buying based on something that's me, not based on who God has for me. And so really, I knows what I need, and whatever it is, I don't care what size it is. Hey, I don't care what emotion he has. It's the emotion I need. I don't care what spiritual life he leads, spiritual life I need in my life, because I waited for him, and hopefully he waited for me. Makes sense. So I think this whole thing has just been thrown completely backwards, because truth be told, I know what you need. How do you know what you want? I mean, if you've never encountered, so what, you're going to go sample all the chicken nuggets in the store? I'm just saying. So you go sample everything. At the end of the day, nothing's really going to stick. I have an example if you want to see my example. I have, what do we call this in Kenya? Chloroplast?
Cellotape.
Cellotape.
Cellotape, yeah.
Like, okay, I'm going to sample, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm going to sample, and I sample, and I sample, and I sample. Well, people I'm sampling is also sampling other people. And so they're sampling other people, and we're just all sampling. Everybody's taking samples. Well, before you know it, if we all just keep sampling, this tape is not going to be sticky anymore. In fact, it won't be for use anymore. And before you know it, you're not going to know what it is you need, let alone what it is you want. And so then you finally will say, okay, I'm going to get married. But at the end of the day, you're not sticky. Like, you're not, you understand? Like, you've just you just become a piece of, trying to have some glue on that, but there's nothing, because it's all been used up. And so that's really where a lot of young people, men and women, make mistakes, because we sit down and we say, I want to sample. But how many people have had their hands in that same bowl? How many people have, been a part of that same guy, that same girl. You know, at the end of the day, the tape ain't gonna stick. And that's
Yeah.
what we have to understand. We can't sit here and say, oh, I don't know if I like this. I don't know if I like that. You don't know what it is you like. I didn't know what I liked, but I
Yeah.
just went for it.
Yeah.
Now I know what I like, but it's what I know now. I was able to discover that in the confines of marriage and in the confines of covenant. And that's why where the difference has to be.